Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to this new video. And today we'll start where we left from. The last video we were more, was more based on a helper function recursion. Okay, let me just show what I have understood from recursion. Then we'll move to this lecture and where am I stuck at. So let me just zoom it in for you. So collect all the elements of a given array which are odd, right? Which are odd, but do it using recursion. So what I did, what was my naive approach was like defining uh, index variable outside the function, setting it to 0. Then we create the function, select odd elements which should take a parameter argument of example of an array. So if the array's length is smaller, if this is smaller than this, then do the following thing. Okay, if the array is let's say first element is exactly divisible by 2, then remove that element from the array. Let's remove the console log thing. Okay. And then call the very function again. So now when the function will be called again, that arrow will be removed. So we'll be just left with only only odd numbers. You're getting my point, right? Or if that is not the case, if the first element is not divisible by 2 completely, then just um, move forward in the array and check the next one by incrementing I. So that was my approach, and yeah, it does actually solve. So we have an example array of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And by the way, splice has been used here. So basically, the given array is only mutated. There is like the whatever array you'll provide, that very array will get mutated in my one. I don't know if it's good, efficient, or what, but um, yeah. So I don't know where do I place my camera. Anyway, doesn't matter. Whole problem, and I run it. So I get some crazy error. Error is not defined. Error is not defined. Why am I getting that error? Error is not defined. Oh, maybe we have another functions also running in here. So let me clear the log, and when I run it again, so you can see we get the same error. What? Error is not defined. Why? Oh, I need to save it because if you don't save it, it won't reflect. So you can see 3 and 5. So 3 and 5. So if I add, for example, 7, 8, 9, 10. So just the odd numbers will be pulled out of it, like 3, 5, 7, 9. That's right. 3, 5, 7, 9. We didn't get any output. Try again. 3, 5, 7, 9. 3, 5, 7, 9. That's what. So this is how using a naive approach. Let's try doing it with some other approach. Doing it using helper method recursion. So helper method recursion, to me, according to me, it was harder as compared to mm, doing it using pure recursion. Why? Let me show you. So for example, you create, okay, the outside body is kind of same only for both. But here we define a variable, array variable called result, and which is empty for now. Now inside the big function, we have inside helper function, which is named helper, and we have given it an helper array as an argument, the parameter to take an argument of an array. So it is first of all, the first check is if the uh, what if the provided array that you have provided is equal to 0 or it gradually becomes 0 due to recursion or something, then simply return. Return basically means get out of this loop. Okay, if the provided array's first element is not divisible by 2, then push this into the result. Okay. You have done both of this. Now what? Now the helper.splice. What is helper.splice does? It basically mutates the array. Okay, it mutates the array. Good idea. But after mutating what? So 0 and 1, it just removes the first element uh, in the helper array. And then we again call the helper array with the helper array. And yeah, we keep on doing it. Okay. And by chance, if it gets out of this one due to something, then we try to call this out using the helper function. God, it's complicated to explain. And because I don't understand it properly. Anyway, then at the end, bring the result out. So what would happen right now? You see, for this, it should give 357. So it will give 357, 357. Oh, I have to save it and close it and again try 357, 357. That's what it's working. Helper method recursion, I don't like it that much. I like the pure recursion kind of because it's kind of cute. Because if you have a look at it, you'll have a better idea of what I'm talking about. For example, we created a function called collect odd values, and what we do next, what is happening to the screen? Everything okay? What we do next is we still have a result array that is empty array. Now, first thing is if the array dot length is equal to 0, the provided array that you have provided, if its length is equal to 0, then do what? Simply return the result. Okay, whatever is in it due to recursion, if something has come inside, then just simply return the result, or if it's empty, then simply return the empty array. If the array's first element is equal to 0, if first element is not divisible by 0, then push that, then just simply push that into the result array. Okay, till here it seems kind of familiar, but here is the catch. What happens to the result is just we whatever is the current value of result right now. Right now it's empty. Concate it with removing the first element from the array. For example, if 2, 3 are in this case, so 2 is what? 2 is not divisible. So yeah. So what we do here, we remove the first element and then again go back to this. Here again the result is 0, and we push that result into the array. What the fuck am I doing? Okay, and we concate it. So the result array will have an empty array plus 3. So it will become just 3. So if I just run this right now with these values, so it should just return 3. So it just returns, let me just save it. So we do get out. What is the error? Error is not defined. What the fuck happened to the error? ARR. Where is ARR? ARR. Where is ARR? ARR. Error. Error. So let me save it. Let me remove it and look at it again. So you can see 3 is an output. What happens here? It runs once. It just checks that 2 is what? 2 is even. So what we do just we do these things. Just remove the first thing from the array. And we try to do the second thing again. That now the array contains initially it was 0. So it is 0. 0 is concatenated with whatever will be the output of this. So the current output for this array will be 3. So 0 plus 3 is 0. Like that. So then let's try to do it with some big array like this. Let's try running it. फिर कहीं गलती हो गया यार कहाँ गलत हो रहा है भाई anyway सही होगा let's remove it and save it and run it. So it's 357. So it's working. Hopefully it helps. Okay, by the way, pure recursion, I told, okay. Yeah, pure recursion for an array, use methods like slice, spread operator, and concate to make copies of the array so that you do not mutate the original array. Okay, and then we have remembered that strings are immutable, so you need to use methods like slice. substring or substrings to make copies of the string. Okay. For an array, use methods like here, remember previous. To make copies of object, use object to assign, spread operators and all. So this is going to be very useful. This object thing, I want to really interested in object because most of the things that comes from the APIs are basically in form of object. God, what has happened to my speaking skills? I've ruined it. Anyway, I'll come back later. Till then, take care. Be safe. Bye bye.